From the slam-banging dirt track of Springfield to the aerodynamic marvel of Michigan, the 1UP Turbo Truck Series really does get everywhere. And here we are then, for race number 16 out of 20 at the beautiful Michigan International Speedway. Nestled in the Irish hills of Brooklyn, Michigan, this 2-mile high-speed oval's very heavy on the aerodynamics. You're going to need a big draft in order to get a good run here, and for these 39 drivers, it's going to be absolutely crucial if they're going to have a good race here this afternoon. And alongside me to bring you all the action after a week away is Michigan's own Ryan Griffin for this race, and it's great to have you back with us. But with 6 playoff drivers starting in the top 10, these guys have got to realize that they're pushed to the championship. After being delayed by a few short track action races, it really starts here.
Yeah, this is going to be the bread and butter of much of the races. It's like you got to have the good speedway setup, and there's several guys that need to start bouncing back here if they're going to have any chance at this championship. And honestly, I could think of another better, I guess you could say, driver's racetrack than Michigan, because there's just so many grooves that you can run here, and drivers love this track. And we'll see that love today, and I'm sure somebody's going to be loving this track at the end of the day, but we'll see who may be cursing it by the end of the day as well.
For sure, this is going to be a very action-packed race, despite it not having the short track charms of the previous two. But regardless, we're going to have a lot of fun here in the Irish Hills. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 40 laps of racing action, Brian Grigsby gets his 3rd pole of the season. Alongside him, Kev Shearer looking to extend his points lead. Bronson Minnick, after that big crash at Springfield, looking to redeem himself here. And DJ Curtis once again putting in the work, getting a fantastic starting spot for his 3rd career race. And we've got a few other names in the playoffs starting in the top 10. Chastain, Sear, Nelson Reeves among them. This is going to be a big race for these guys, especially those that had a bit of trouble last time out at Springfield.
Yeah, and the thing is with Michigan, the draft works so well here that you can... There is draft element here that if you start in the mid-pack or the back, it's not necessarily a detriment to start in the back here, but like any other race, you want to try to get through the traffic as quickly as you can before something happens that could damage you or hurt your day. So we'll have to see, especially for the ones starting further back that need to actually make, as we said, come in here and make a statement and get back into this one. So it'll definitely be something to watch.
Absolutely. These guys are going to be going all out for these 40 laps at this racetrack. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're about ready to bring it to you live. This is the 1UP Turbo Truck Series from Michigan International Speedway. The green flag is getting ready to be thrown, and we'll take you to the start now. Heading quickly into the restart zone, it is Grigsby and Shearer leading us to the green flag, which is already in the air. We're underway at Michigan, and Bronson Minnick gets off to a great start. He's already going to try and force it up the middle between the 2 front row starters, as DJ Curtis now dives to the inside from the outside row. He's going to make it 4 wide for second as we head through 1 and 2.
There's 4 wide here already, and man, the guys immediately jumped on this start. And again, it's because of the way the draft works here. If you can stay with the person around you, you're in the fight, and man, we're gonna be 4 wide into turn 3 for the lead, and it looks like it's gonna be the 65 and Nomina that's gonna take the lead here.
Oh, and contact between teammates.
Grigsby's in the wall.
Contact from his teammate Curtis. So Curtis accidentally puts his teammate Grigsby into the wall. He's gonna fall from the pole all the way back to 14th before we've even completed a lap here.
I'm amazed they were 4 wide. I think that's basically what you saw the end result of that, is Grigsby just got shoved high, and I think Curtis tried to let out of it to give him a break, and it just ran him up against the fence. And meanwhile, up front, we got a new, hey, how about this person up front?
Yeah, after his strong performance at Springfield last time out, Jensen Nomina doing a strong job leading the way here at Michigan. And we now look at Noah Hart making gains in this 11 truck. He started 17th, and in just 2 laps, he's already up into the top 5.
Yeah, the other one that needs a decent day, given his recent run of races, is Reeves way up the track. I don't know if him and the 66 made contact, but they were close. And that would be the Brandon Smith in that 18, who's not had a good start to this playoff. So he's up here. He needs to start fighting. He needs to get up here and be leading this race, to be honest. As here comes that is the 66 of Mashburn that sorry, I couldn't get it correct right away, but that was the 66 of Mashburn that may have got together with Reeves a little bit, but both of them have recovered. They're running second and fourth at the moment. As you mentioned, Hart there in third.
Yeah, Noah Hart gained 14 spots in the first 2 laps. An incredible accomplishment here at Michigan in what could be a swan song. But here's Nelson Reeves trying to make a run at Hart for third. Curtis and Smith side by side for the 5th position, and Kev Shearer is lurking back there. He started outside pole, and he wants to get back up to the front as soon as possible to try and extend his points lead over second place Earl Sear. But it's Nomina right now who holds a steady lead out in front. Mashburn's trying to get up there, but so far I don't think he's able to.
Yeah, that was just kind of a chaotic start. I don't think, as often as I see races here, I don't think I've ever seen one start that crazy. I mean, we were 4 wide for the lead going into turn 3 on the first lap of the race. So these guys definitely came in here racy. Reeves kind of moved a little up the racetrack there. This truck may not like that center lane, although he has his teammate behind him, so maybe they could try to draft at the center there. But so far, it is Jensen Nomina in the 65 that leads this race. After that chaotic start, I mean, he's the one that kind of benefited out of it, got the lead, and so far he has yet to be challenged.
A very strong run from Jensen Nomina, who led a lot of the race at Springfield before finishing in the 3rd position, his best finish of the season so far. But I'm sure he's wanting to go a few better here at Michigan. This is a great opportunity for him. He's led the opening 5 laps, and he's got about a 3/10 lead over the 66, who, remember, with Henry Thomas driving last week, was giving him plenty of trouble on the dirt at Springfield. So these two are not unfamiliar with racing each other. So we look now further back. David Stapleton started 25th. He's up to the top 10. And looking back now, there's Brian Grigsby. He's running back in about 23rd position now. That is not where the 92 wanted to be running at the start of this race, considering he started this race from pole position. But he's just trying to find a place to settle in and ride for now. He's behind the 6 of Villalobos now, and he's just doing a nice job trying to pick his way through traffic slowly but surely to get back up to the front.
Yeah, and the thing is with Grigsby, at this point you're trying to just diagnose what may have happened to the truck. Well, how much damage is there to the truck, and trying to get himself settled in, get into ride, and then see what the truck is doing from there. But man, it's unfortunate for Grigsby, considering this is FPM's home race, that he put it on the pole, looked like he was going to have a good run of it today, and I mean, his day was pretty much over for basically the first lap, and he's been trying to recover. So we'll see. I mean, it's a relatively short race, only 40 laps here in Michigan, so we'll see if they can recover by the end of the day.
Yeah, there's still plenty of racing to go. Grigsby could very easily find his way back to the front before this is all said and done. But right now, the lead FPM truck right now is DJ Curtis, who's making a move on Noah Hart for the 3rd position. Curtis, in his 2 races so far, is yet to finish outside the top 10. This is a great start to Curtis's one-up career, and he's doing a fantastic job here. He's racing Hart for 3rd with Brandon Smith and Nelson. Well, Smith's actually going to duck down to the inside and make it 3 wide, because, like you said, Smith needs to get out front, lead as much of this race as he can, and win it if he's going to have any hope whatsoever.
Yeah, he's got to make a big recovery charge, and at the same token, if there's anybody that I think that could do it, it would be this 18 team from what we saw them do here in this regular season. So if there's any team that could do it, it's definitely this 18 team. We'll just have to see whether it comes to fruition. But going back to Curtis for a moment, it's interesting that FBM just has a habit of finding these guys that just seem to show up. When it's race day, they show up, and they show up big. And Curtis has definitely made his impression in that 22 since taking over that ride. So we hope to see more of him here in this series, and hopefully more races, and maybe we'll see a win or 2 out of him.
But right now the focus is on the battle for second between Mashburn, Hart, and now Nelson Reeves, as Elijah Ironhouse makes his way up. He started this race back in 23rd position. He's now up to 5th. And how about this run here from R. Sarker, who had a bit of a rough showing in the last 2 races. He qualified 29th. Now he's fighting for a spot in the top 10 for Crown Ultra Racing. This is not a driver we expect to see up at the front of the field. Oh, and I was just about to talk more about him, but we've got a smoker, and it's Tegan Fox in the 88.
Yeah, engine let go, and Michigan's is a track that it's another thing to talk about is engines here, and you put a lot of strain because of the RPM you're turning here, and we could see some failures today, and unfortunately for Fox, his is going to be the first failure it looks like of the day.
Yeah, that is a big shame for Tegan Fox. They had a lap 2 crash at Springfield. Now they've only made it 10 laps before the engine lets go on the 88 Toyota. But up at the front of the field, Nomina continues to lead. Sarker continues his climb through the field. I was talking about him when the engine expired on the 88, but Sarker is now up to the 7th position after starting 29th. That is an incredible run from a team that we don't expect to see run up front very often.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yes, pretty much Nomina has led since he took the point, but it's interesting to see the racing that's going on behind him. I mean, you mentioned the 51. We mentioned the 83 of Ironhouse earlier. He's up to 2nd now. It's amazing to see how people can, the comers and goers, they say at certain races. But, man, the way this start of this race was, and they were 4 wide at one point, it's just amazing to see this shuffling. But meanwhile, through all of it, Nomina's been able to maintain, although he may have a charge from this 83. This 83 has got some speed right now.
Yeah, Elijah Ironhouse is doing a strong job filling in this 83 truck. He normally races in the Nitro National Series, but they have the week off, so he settles back into this 83 truck once again. But he goes up the racetrack a little bit. That could allow Mashburn to his inside. They almost make contact off of 4. They're going to be side by side for 2nd, and that is music to Nomina's ears. It lets him pull away once again.
Yeah, and I think what happened there is just, Ironhouse drifted up a little bit. The 66 saw an opportunity, got in there to try to side draft, but I think he got a little closer than what he wanted to, and I don't know if there was contact or not, but it looked close enough. Looks like Nelson Reeves is slotted in 4th, and then Noah Hart's trying to hang on to the 5th position. As we mentioned, the 51, that nice little battle there for 5th.
Yeah, Sarker is putting on a fantastic drive, the best of his career, in my opinion, to come from 29th on the grid, up now to the top 5, which is, I believe, the first time we've seen him in this position all season long. So, fantastic run from this 51, but we're still early in this race. We got 25 laps still to run here. It's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of this, because Sarker these guys aren't used to racing him for lead lap positions, so I don't know how he's going to race them in return. This is going to be very interesting to see what these guys do with him going forward.
But look at how just behind Nomina right now, how this little group here, basically from 2nd to 6th, has changed in like the last 3 laps. I mean, the 83 was running 2nd. Now he's in the middle of this battle for 2nd. He's got the 51, who we talked about him, was running battling for 5th, now going for 2nd. And look at Brandon Smith all the way at the bottom, 4 wide for 2nd as they go into turn 1. And look at this. I mean, I know I like this racetrack as a driver and as a native, but damn.
Yeah, this is quite the spectacular show these fans are getting to see here, as Sarker tries to put the block on Noah Hart as he drops back. Now Brandon Smith dives it in. Sarker tries to dive it in. Smith gets onto the apron a little bit, trying to stay clear of the 51. That could cost him a little bit of momentum. But so far, so good for Jensen Nomina. He is well out in front of this race, as Ironhouse and Reeves now battle for the 2nd position.
And really, I think honestly this is a battle for basically 2nd all the way back to maybe about 10th and 11th, because it's like 8 trucks here under a blanket that are just kind of dicing for position. Honestly, it's almost like we're watching, I know Michigan has been compared to it, it's almost like we're watching a super speedway race here, the way these guys are racing.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a pretty good comparison, all things considered. These guys are going upwards of 200 miles per hour into the corners here. So, and these are the trucks. Imagine what the superstar cars will do tomorrow. It's just incredible to see these guys go flat out every lap to try and get the win. But so far, no one's been able to challenge the 65 of Nomina, although we're only just now closing in on the halfway point of this race.
And as we've seen in races this season in the trucks and superstar and in all of the 3 series, the race has only really just begun at halfway. And with the Dyson for position we're seeing so far, very easily if they catch Nomina and he gets swallowed into this pack, that could change it up some more. We'll see, as here comes Ironhouse again to try to make a run. Again, he's going to slide it wide in 4. So it looks like Nomina will continue on point.
Yeah, Nomina continues to lead, but how about this 51? We've been talking about him a lot, and for good reason. He's now almost up to 2nd from 29th on the grid. That is an incredible run. We keep talking about him, but there's a good reason for it. He is genuinely putting on the drive of his career right here in this 51 machine. He's up to 2nd place now. He's battling for it with Ironhouse, and these guys from 3rd on back, they've got to be careful of this 51 because he's got nothing to lose at this point in the season.
And it's interesting to see this because this battle for 2nd, because they are staying side by side, it's basically pulled more trucks into this fight. So Nomina, yeah, does have a little bit of gap. We'll check it here at the line just to see what it is at this point. It's about 0.3 of a second for Nomina. But from behind him, it is basically a dogfight. And they are just... The most amazing thing about this is you're not seeing... We may have seen some slight contact, and obviously, unfortunately for Brian Grigsby, the pole sitter, he made a little more than slight contact with the wall that knocked him back in the field. But everybody else here has pretty much been keeping it clean. So, I mean... But if you're a fan of the stands, you're loving this right now, watching this. But I tell you what, though, now that the 51 has got sorted of this mess behind him, now you start to try to see if he can make a run on the 65.
Yep, and we're past halfway now, which means we can, if these guys were to pit now, we neglected to mention this before, they can make it to the end from here. We will see at least one. We will see one round of pit stops in this race, should it stay green the rest of the way from here. So that is going to play a huge factor in deciding the outcome of this race. As we got a crash further in the back, it's Grantley King involved. Henry Brown with some significant contact in the back of the field, smoke pouring out of the number 70, and we have caution on the speedway for the first time. That is the opportunity these guys were looking for to make those pit stops.
And it just, while it may not be perfect for those involved in the incident, it's almost perfect for the field to have it fall just past halfway. So really, it's like you bet here and just run it out to the end and see how crazy maybe this restart will be.
For sure, it's not what the guys in the accident wanted to see, but these guys would certainly not mind a bit of a reset here, trying to get themselves back under control. Considering how this race has progressed so far, they've been completely out of control for a long time. This is a great way to reset and focus on the second half of this race, where the points get paid out. But you see Grantley King with a lot of damage, Gentry Shoy, Giovanni Pena, Jeremy Frey with a big amount of damage, James Ellison as well on the 31. His left side's all torn up. There's a lot of trucks with a lot of damage, but even if these guys come in, I would expect everybody to make the trip to pit road for 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel.
You make your stop now under caution while you have the opportunity instead of trying to make it under green, especially if it's only one stop that's going to get you to the end.
Which it will, because we're well past halfway now.
So yeah, everybody, it's pretty much feeding time as they call it as they come to pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because Sarker's the first one to pull off into his pit, because he started quite a ways in the back. Same with Ironhouse. Oh, and they make contact. Sarker and Ironhouse make contact in the pits. That's going to be detrimental to their days. Hopefully not too badly. But everybody's pulling into the pits now. We'll see what happens for the rest of this race, because the outcome of this pit cycle could very well decide the outcome of this race, as it looks like Jensen Nomina, I don't think he's taking tires at all. I think he's just going gas only on this pit stop.
Interesting play.
Aiden Smith also does
I was going to say another strategy call there out of the 9 team. So.
And the 10 of Buchholz, he also looks like he took gas only. Same with the 09 and the 11.
Well, we'll have to see if that and how that works out for him, but I don't know. We'll have to see if that works or not. I mean, we've seen Nomina was able to hang on.
Looks like it all. Oh yeah, that's where the wreck starts. 4 into 1 does not go, and a lot of trucks with a lot. Oh man, Brown with a big shot from the 48, getting up into the wall. The season of misery continues for Henry Brown. He had a strong showing at Springfield last time out, but they have not been easy to come by for the 70 team. They are mired deep in the points, and this will only set him back even further. Yeah, it wasn't even his.
It was nothing of his own doing. He was just the unfortunate victim when the 48 came back down the track after the incident and just got caught up in it.
So that is Henry Brown's race over. I think he'll be the only retiree from this accident. Everybody else should be able to continue fine and well, albeit with a little more damage on their machines. But that is our first caution here at about the halfway point of this race. Henry Brown will obviously be done for today, but now the running order's got a completely new look to it. We've got Jensen Nomina, he's still leading, of course, but we've got some guys up at the front we have not seen yet in this race. We've got Aiden Smith running second, Jacob Buchholz third, Josh Gibson running back in, looks like, the 6th position. These guys are an interesting story. Will they be able to make this fuel-only strategy work, or will it backfire on them completely and they'll have to duck in for tires?
What we're going to have to see on this restart is, again, this will be the first restart since the initial start of the race. We saw in the initial start how crazy they got. We were basically 4 wide, turn 3 on the first lap. So these guys can get, spread out. And if they get spread out, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys that took no tires are going to compare against the trucks that took 4. So we're truly going to find out, do tires really matter? We'll find out here. And the other thing that we're going to have to watch, too, is once Nomina got out front, he really didn't have a direct challenge. This is the first chance that somebody's going to have to put a direct challenge to Nomina since the start of the race. So we'll have to see who's up for the challenge and who maybe can knock the 65 out of the point and take over that spot.
Well, the lights are out on the pace truck, so we'll be going back green when they get back to the start-finish line again. It's just going to be a completely different running order when we get to that restart, because while Nomina has been a constant presence out front, Aiden Smith, Jacob Buchholz, Josh Gibson, these guys we haven't seen up in the front much today, so it's going to be very interesting to see if this gamble pays off for them or if they'll have to pit again, because it's going to go one of two ways. They're either going to make this work, maybe lose a couple of positions to the fresh tired drivers, but they might still be able to hold on, or it'll completely backfire and we'll see them on pit road in a lap or so.
Absolute worst case scenario, they end up where the 40 or the 70 truck is in the garage area. So, we'll have to see which one works out here, but can't say enough. Honestly, I'm surprised that the 65 went that strategy and took no tires, because they have had the best truck so far through the early part of this race. So I'm kind of shocked that they didn't take tires. I guess
maybe they just wanted the clean air.
Maybe they wanted the clean air. Yeah, maybe they wanted the clean air over being stuck in traffic. So, or the chance of being stuck in traffic. So, we'll have to see if it pays off. If it pays off for them, or if they end up getting swallowed by the seas, so to say.
Well, we're about to find out, aren't we? Because we're coming to the restart on lap 26. Jensen Nomina, Aiden Smith. We are back underway at Michigan. Smith ducks out for a moment, but he has to stay in line until that point right there, at which point he can finally hit the go button. Noah Hart ducks underneath his teammate Buchholz for the 3rd position as Aiden Smith dives underneath the 65. This could be a challenge for the lead right here.
We've only had one lead change, and that was when Nomina got the lead. Can Smith be the 2nd lead change today as he works the inside down the back straightaway? They're not quite side by side. Nomina ahead just by a truck length, and there's the 18 of Brandon Smith on the bottom of the track. And look at that run into 3.
I think Nomina's got a problem. I think he's coming in here, and he is coming in here. The longtime leader of this race, Jensen Nomina, with a big issue on coming to pit road, along with Jacob Buchholz. This gamble did not pay off for them. They are going to fall well out of contention for this race win as we're closing in on 10 laps to go.
I don't know what I still can't explain with the 65 team. I can understand the 10 and the 9 pulling that strategy, but I don't know what the 65 team was doing when they clearly had a good truck. But the beneficiary in all this is the guy we talked about that needed a good race and needed to possibly win this race to get back into even title talk, and that is your regular season points champion. The 18 of Brandon Smith is now the race leader with 13 laps to go, and his teammate, who is the current point leader, is running 2nd.
Yeah, those guys are going to benefit in a big way, and you see Nomina and Buchholz going a lap down now. That is just a heartbreak for those guys. And look who's now re-entered the conversation. The 92 of Brian Grigsby. He started on pole. Now he's back in the top 10 after a long time out of
it. Again, we talked about it under the caution, how, one thing can turn a race upside down, and I think we just had it here through this pit stop sequence and this restart.
Yep, Grigsby now makes his way up to the 9th position now as Aguo Zhao in the 98. He's the only guy one of the only guys to have completed every lap this season up to this point. He's got that streak still going. He's now up to 3rd in the 98, looking for his best result of the season so far. But it is Kev Shearer all over the back of his teammate Brandon Smith, looking for the race lead and another win while trying to deny Smith his first of the season.
Yeah, like I said, behind them we mentioned the 98, the 93, or the 83 is still in this mix too. He battles the 71 Reeves. All three of those trucks, the 18, the 02, and the 71 in the top 5.
Yeah, Nelson Reeves has the fastest lap for good measure, so give him a bonus point for that, which he very well could need, as we see some new faces up in the top 10. Mac Johnson, A.F. Walsh. These guys we didn't mention at all, and as a matter of fact, I think that 7 truck started last as we got a big crash in the back. It's Levi Forley with some damage. Grantley King, and Armstrong with significant contact. Here comes, and a big impact for Grantley King. More contact for the 27, a huge impact for this 27 Chevrolet. Grantley King with a horrible crash on the back straightaway. Caution is out for the 2nd time.
And at least 6 trucks involved on the back straightaway. Big mess. One truck looks like it got sideways off turn 2, was spinning off at turn 2, and mayhem results on the back straightaway.
You see Noah Hart, he came in for tires, as did Aiden Smith. Those were the guys on that gamble. That it didn't pay off with them, but at least they're better off compared to the fellas involved in this crash. Levi Forley, Jeremy Frey again, James Ellison again. And our biggest concern has to be for Grantley King, and that 27, the Barbadian rookie, took a severe whiplash as he got hit no less than 4 times in that one accident.
I made the analogy earlier in this race about this Michigan acting like a super speedway. Well, I think we just had the big one here off turn 2.
Absolutely. And you saw Jacob Buchholz. He double whammy for him. The gamble didn't pay off, and he's now out of the race with this big crash that wipes him out of contention for even a good finish. Yeah, now we're going to get you a replay. It looks like we got...
It looks like they might have... Yep, they tried to go 4 wide. There was a little bit of contact.
And then Sistrai got into Forley, and that... Yeah, Forley was the one that set all this off. Master Rimmel gets involved, and Robert Armstrong
he was just sitting on the race. When the truck's sitting in the middle of the racetrack, you're trying to go around it. These guys just nowhere to go. You have a line picked out, and yeah, you were looking just to make sure that the 27, that the situation here in the back straightaway sorts itself out. And
going to go on board now with Grantley King. This is going to be a wild ride. You see the 4 wide up in front of him. He sees that there could be trouble. He now sees the trouble forming, tries to get off the gas to try and navigate his way through this. But Armstrong just gets hit by Forley, and there was nowhere for him to go. And there's 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. And then here comes the 4th one, and it just keeps getting faster and faster for him as he spins in like a top down the back straightaway. That is a horrific ride for Grantley King. We sure hope he's all right, but that was a serious incident for the 27 and for everyone.
And honestly, the one hit that probably was the worst was that last one, because the truck spun into the wall, and as it came down off the wall was when he got hit by Buchholz in the 10. And honestly, that probably was the one that made me cringe as a driver, made me cringe in that last hit. So we hope for the best over there, and hope everybody walks away from this okay. But definitely a wild ride for a number of guys.
And we can also report that last week's winner, Yadis Turzic in the 8 truck, is out of the race with an engine failure. So put any rest to his momentum after that big win. He is now out with an engine letting go in that 8 truck. So we only have 29 trucks still running in this race, 25 of which will be on the lead lap. And we're going to have about a 5 or 6 lap shootout to the checkered flag. My question is, which of the King's Motorsports trucks is going to get it? Because I don't think Zhao has the equipment to contend with these guys.
Well, we say the King's Motorsports, but at the same time, we've seen it on the initial start of the race. We saw it on that previous restart. You don't necessarily want to be the leader on the restart, because both times the leader, well, in this case it was the pole sitter Grigsby at the initial start, but in both the starts we've seen, the leader has not been the leader by the time they come back around to the start-finish line. So, honestly, I think the best position may be where the 02, where the 98 is, where back here to build momentum and maybe get a run and to make a move here. So, and we're only going to have a short amount of laps. We're going to have maybe 6 laps to go when we actually get the green. So, and there's the other thing we got to keep in mind too is if we see another incident, that very well could be the race. So there's a lot we're going to have to watch on this restart.
Yep, and it's going to be really close for the rest of this race. The lights are out on the pace track. We'll have 6 laps to decide this race. Brandon Smith, he is your leader, and that's about all we know, because there's a lot of guys a lap down that could have been winners today, especially that 65. But now Kev Shearer runs second. What can he do in this race? Igor Zhao runs third. Ironhouse, Reeves, 4th and 5th. Sear, Johnson, Walsh, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Miles Mashburn's still up there in 9th. And Brian Grigsby, what can he do from 10th position? Can he salvage a top 10, top 5 run? Maybe even win it from back there. Who knows? We're about to find out in half a lap's time.
Yeah, it's going to be all about how you take off on this restart. Is going to determine who the players are going to be and who's going to be left out to dry. So it's going to all come down to this restart. It'll be 6 laps to go. Again, we mentioned Brandon Smith's issues in the first playoff races and how he needed to get his season back on, or the playoffs at least, back on track. Wynn would do that, but it looks like But to do so, he's going to have to hold off his teammate and point leader, Kev Shear, to do that. So, can he do it? We'll find out in about 6 laps.
It's not going to be an easy task, that's for sure, because Kev Shear has been a monster this season. He's won 3 races already this season. Could he go for number 4 here today? The pace truck pulls onto pit road. We're about to find out as Brandon Smith heads the field, heading towards the restart zone. We're going green once again at Michigan, and it looks like Kev Shear is backing up a little bit to try and get a run on his teammate, heading into turn 1 with maybe a push from that 98 as well, as Walsh is the first one to dive out of line.
I was going to say, Shear's got to watch out too to make sure somebody doesn't make a run on him. He is going to have a look on Smith into 1 and 2. 2 is inside. Can he clear him off 2?
Looks like he will. Looks like he is. Kev Shearer to the point in the 0-2, trying to get win number 4 of the season. That would be the most by any driver in a single season in the Turbo Truck Series. But here comes Ironhouse to the inside, trying to get the lead. He has to back off just a tad, and he's got help from their other teammate, Nelson Reeves, as Zhao and Smith almost make contact.
Wants to lead. I was going to say, but Reeves wants to lead himself as he looks on the way bottom line. So it's almost 3 wide for the lead, as Shear looks like is going to hang on to it possibly, but no, he's still dueling Ironhouse into 1 and 2, as they are 3 wide behind him.
Looks like we're going to have about 12 trucks in the mix for victory here, all the way back to Arish Sarkar in the 51. But this has been a thrilling race from start to finish, and Kev Shear is looking to get his 4th win of the year, but he's going to face some competition from not only Elijah Ironhouse, but also his 2 teammates, Smith and Reeves, plus Earl Sear, who's throwing his hat into the ring as well, coming to 4 laps to go now.
I gotta say, I almost wanted to say it before the restart to watch that 3 truck. If he's up near the front, you can't overlook him when he's having a run like this, and he's got a shot at it. But right now, Shear able to put at least a truck or 2 car length to the trucks behind him, like we saw the 65 do earlier today. This might be all he needs, as they are still racing behind him. And keep in mind, we still may see a yellow here to end this thing. Let's get a bit back home clean here, guys, as we are 4 wide in 3 and 4.
Bronson Minnick with a serious move. Here comes Aiden Smith and Jensen Nomina. They're a lap down, but they've got the freshest tires of anybody, and they're sawing their way through the field at this rate. 3 laps to go now. Shearer holds off Ironhouse for the moment as AF Walsh tries to sneak his way up. He started last in this race. Now he's trying to make a move as Zhao gets into him, moves him up the racetrack, and sends him a little bit down the order.
Contact there, and it got hairy there for a second, but they sort it all out as we'll come around to 2 to go with Shearer out front. And meanwhile, these guys are trying to get organized to try to get somebody to maybe make another run at Shearer as they come off a 4 to the 2 to go.
Yeah, and how about Mac Johnson in the 5 making a move to the front? He's all the way up to the 4th position now, trying to battle Brendan Smith for 3rd. There's 2 laps of racing to go for Kev Shearer to hang on to this win, if he can do it. But Ironhouse, Smith, Johnson, Sear, they're all ganging up behind him to try and make one last move, coming towards the white flag this time.
You see, the thing is here with Ironhouse, he's cleared the trucks behind him, so he doesn't have to worry about somebody trying to get a run on him for 2nd while he tries to attack Shearer. But he's only going to have maybe a lap to try to do something, and he washes up out of 4 as they come to the white.
White flag in the air for Kev Shearer. He's gonna have one more time around to hold on to this, as it looks like Smith and Ironhouse are gonna battle it out for 2nd, and that is not what they want to be doing. They want to be chasing down the O2, not fighting each other. But here comes Aiden Smith. He's not racing for them for position, nor is Noah Hart, but they're scything their way through the field now on those fresh tires. But coming now through 3 and 4 for one last time in this race. Kev Shearer didn't lead this race until the final 5 laps, but he sure put it to good use here. Off of 4 for the final time, for the 4th time in 2023. Kev Shearer going to get a big win at Michigan and extend his championship lead over the rest. Brandon Smith does come home 3rd on the road, but 2nd in the race as Aiden Smith was right between them. It's kind of hard to sort through the results with all these guys in the way. Ironhouse comes home 3rd. Bronson Minnick 4th. A nice recovery from him. And Mac Johnson gets his 2nd top 5 of the season. Earl Sear 6th. Reeves Sarker gets a great top 10 run. DJ Curtis once again in the top 10. 3 for 3 as far as that's concerned. And Francois Chastain runs at the top 10. This race was pretty intense from start to finish. We didn't know what was going to happen, but in the end, Kev Shearer held him off like we knew he could.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy race, but in the end, the drivers who are hot are going to stay hot, and Kev Shearer, again, with his 4th win of the season, best yours truly for most wins in a Truck Series season. Of course, this will only be the 2nd season for the trucks, but I think he's pretty much established himself as the championship favorite, and it's going to be very tough to beat him as the rest of the season plays out.
But yeah, and his lead is only getting bigger now at this rate. And if you thought this race was chaotic and insane, wait till you see where we're going in 2 weeks' time. The 2.66 miles of Talladega Super Speedway, that is going to be absolutely insane for these guys. Can Brendan Smith go back-to-back there, or will someone completely unexpected steal the show out in Talladega? You're going to have to join us then to find out, because we're as excited to see that outcome as you are. So, from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Michigan International Speedway. Congratulations to Kev Shearer. He pulls off a big win here in Michigan, but Brandon Smith, he might have saved his playoff hopes with a 2nd, but a lot has happened here in the Irish Hills. We're looking forward to the next time at the high banks of Talladega.